Good morning from Green Bay. Here we are at Big B Coffee, and more importantly, I am with Natalie Johanknecht, who is a volleyball student athlete, launching, thank you Natalie for doing this, our first ever Coffee with the Commissioner. So Green Bay chose the coffee place, and Natalie's choosing the questions. We'll see you soon. Okay, Natalie, thanks so much for agreeing to do this. I appreciate some time. This is our first one, so as we said offline, no playbook here. Before you start asking me questions, I would just love to hear a little bit about your path to Green Bay.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I am a fifth year this year. I am a middle blocker and play volleyball at Green Bay. I went to high school at Oshkosh West, and when I was in my recruiting process of where I wanted to go to college, I wanted to stay close to home. My family is super important to me.
That's awesome.
And when I toured Green Bay, I got to know the coaching staff. I just knew immediately that Green Bay was going to be home, and it has been such an awesome experience for me. I've really made it a community. I have made a lot of connections and gotten a lot of opportunities, and I'm really, really grateful to be here.
So just a small story here. I played college basketball at Millikan University in Illinois, and we played in the College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin, so we did play Carthage quite a bit. But anytime, and we made it to the NCAA postseason every year, and we always had to get through one of the Wisconsin Division III schools, Oshkosh, Whitewater, Eau Claire. It was always one of those three that were just dominant. So I know that's your hometown, and now you're playing D1 here at Green Bay, but anytime I hear Oshkosh, I just kind of have bad memories, I gotta tell you. But so Oshkosh, an hour from your home.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep, only an hour away, and now my brother plays basketball at Oshkosh, so.
Oh, he does?
Nice.
Okay. So he's still beating up on all of our Illinois D3 schools. That's great. Okay, so you, impressive undergrad. I know you graduated with honors, and now you're getting, you said, your master's in sports management with a marketing emphasis. So have you had any fun projects?
Yeah, so actually this last spring I worked with Sean on a partnership with Big B.
Nice.
So we have our first coffee sponsorship, which was really cool to get some real world experience, something further than what the classroom can offer.
Yeah. What did you learn through that?
How to work with different businesses. Sean tasked me, I had a letter writing with my business card, which was really cool to see my name on a card. And I got to walk into different businesses and introduce myself. I'm a student athlete at Green Bay.
Wow.
I love the student athlete experience, and something that helps with that is partnerships and different funding to have different cool experiences. And then I got to reach out. Tara responded to my letter with my information, and then I got connected with her here at Big B, and then set up a meeting with Tara and Sean, walked through the different levels of partnership that we offer, and we're just able to make it happen.
So tough negotiation, or not so much?
Not so much. Tara was wonderful to work with.
That's great.
Which really made my first experience pretty awesome. To have a success story your first try.
Sure.
But being on that call with Sean when we were going through the different levels of partnership and then making that agreement was super awesome and just really, really rewarding.
So before I turn it over to you, it's not a coincidence that you and Green Bay Athletics chose to have coffee here.
Correct.
Not only did you help with this partnership, but they're a supporter of the athletics department, which is awesome. Okay, thanks for giving me a little bit of your story. We're so glad you're one of our nearly 4,000, it's hard to believe we have nearly 4,000 student athletes. So thank you for sharing a little bit of your story. I promised you this is about you asking me questions, so I might still have follow-ups, but I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, first off, with you sharing about your college experience and being a student athlete, how did that shape your leadership style and prepare you for this career?
You know, I was literally just thinking about this last week because I got to see my college coach, who I'm still close with. And it's funny, when I see her, it's like I still kind of slip back into student athlete mode. Like, I'm calling her coach, she's calling me Jules, and I sit up a little taller because I know the expectation is there, which I think just is, for me, playing basketball was like a leadership lab. I didn't think of it that way. It was frankly a mental health outlet for me, and a group of friends that I needed, because I was like further away from home than I'd ever been. I was a little homesick as a freshman, and if I wouldn't have had basketball that fall semester with conditioning and two-a-days and all the hard stuff to distract me, I think it would have been a harder adjustment. But basketball definitely helped me find an immediate family, and it wasn't kumbaya. Not all teams are, right? I was definitely a freshman and the rookie and had to earn my stripes a bit. But I grew through that process, and then I grew strong friendships. I'm still close with some of the seniors who we played 4 years together. And then my coach remains like a mentor for me. But no doubt, I know it's a really long answer, but the leadership, the toughness and resilience that I learned through my 4 years is really helped.
That's awesome. That's something that I'm learning now. I'm a team captain. So
good for you.
Yeah, so that's something, a different level of leadership that I'm super proud to have that title. And with that, like, we have different levels of leadership. And the first step is modeling our desired standards and behaviors. So, and you're in this program, we have our standards, and it's like how much you uphold those standards. And then the next level is bringing people along. And then the third level is leading the program so that they can continue to lead, that you like left your legacy there.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to have this opportunity, and now getting more responsibility and looking out for the team and how to set us up to be in a position to win this season.
So are those 3 tenets or pillars something that Coach Abby sets forth, and then you as the captain or one of the captains, she's like, hey, here's what I expect. Now go do it.
Yes.
Wow. So how's that going?
So far, so good. It's been a challenge for me learning my leadership style. Everyone leads in a unique and own way.
Right.
So that's something that you have to kind of learn along the way of who am I going to be as a leader and what are my values. I am very connection focused, so making those connections with my players and feeling that they can come and talk to me with anything that happens, so then we already have that connection built. If there is ever an issue and we need to have a direct conversation.
You gotta have the trust, right?
Yeah, it's already built on that trust.
Wow. That's inspiring. Good job.
Thank you. So you did mention one of your coaches was a mentor, but do you have other role models who influence your career path in college athletics?
Oh, wow. You know, I've been in athletics working like almost 30 years. So the list is really long. Like, I feel like I would have to unroll a scroll, but I'm not going to do that. I'll try to simplify it. My first mentor still works in college athletics. You mentioned you guys are going to NC State. Her name's Carrie Doyle, and she worked at the NCAA when I was an intern. She now works at NC State, but she led the eligibility department at the NCAA. And after I'd been there for almost a year, I had applied for a job working for her, and as one sort of like a judge of eligibility cases. They announced that the headquarters was moving from Kansas City to Indianapolis. And she comes in my office, because we actually had offices at the time, and she said, I'm not going to move to Indianapolis, and which means my job's going to be vacant, and which was the leader of this department of lawyers. She said, and you need to apply for it, because you're the best candidate. And I remember like looking over my shoulder, like, is she talking to me? And she basically said, you've got what it takes. Yeah, it's more potential than experience at this point, but here's what you need to do, and here's how you're going to do it. And she saw something in me that I definitely didn't see. But for that moment, I would not have gotten on the trajectory that I was on at the NCAA. And then I had another big mentor was David Price, who, a similar situation. He led all of enforcement at the national office. And he came to me and said, I'm going to retire soon. You need to think about this job. There's never been a woman leading this department. It's a tough job. You're supervising investigators. Now you'd be supervising the entire department. You're ready for it. And again, but for that, I wanted it, but I don't think I had the full confidence to throw my name in the hat, because I was definitely going out on a limb. And then when I joined the Horizon League, I was meeting with the then commissioner, who's still a mentor and friend, John LeCrone, longtime commissioner of the league. I thought we were meeting for coffee because he wanted to hire me as a consultant. And then I found out he wanted to hire me to be his number 2, like deputy commissioner. After about 30 minutes in, I was selling my consulting services, and he's like, I'm trying to offer you a job. So it took me a while, I feel like, in all instances, but I've also appreciated, and I tried to do that today. You see something in somebody, you got to tell them. Sometimes we don't see it in ourselves, right? Just like your coach. So yeah, I've been really fortunate to have, frankly, both female and male mentors along the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's something Coach Abby this last spring, she spoke at the Schreiber Institute for Women Leadership, When Women Rise, We Rise. And so that was really inspiring. She's always been a mentor to me, but seeing her speak in front of everyone and getting to share the values of our program and how she's a role model to so many people was really awesome. And I'm really, really grateful to have her as my role model.
That's great. I just got chills.
Yeah.
She knows that, right? That's great. You got to tell them.
What unique challenges have you faced as a female leader in a historically male-dominated role?
Well, I have, there have been a few. I will say in today's, even in the commissioner room, there's 32 Division I commissioners, and there are at least 10 female commissioners. So it's not even a small minority anymore. We're a third of the room, which has been, frankly, a significant changeover in the last 5+ years. So that's been rewarding to see, and a lot of those women are my close friends. One is really a role model, Val Ackerman. She started the WNBA, and she now is commissioner of the Big East, which to me is just awesome on both fronts. But I do have a funny story, because I think playing basketball, first of all, growing up, I would often go out to the gym on Sundays and play pickup ball, and I was really the only girl there. And I got very comfortable because I love the sport. You just play, and of course there were shirts and skins, and I was always shirts. So you had to get past that joke sometimes, but whatever. I loved the game, but I played it. And I got used to just being the only girl then, now young woman, and then now just female in the room. So I'm at the NCAA, and I get invited to go to the SEC athletics directors meeting with their commissioner. And in the room are all the athletics directors and all of the deputy athletics directors. And I am now leading enforcement, which was not a popular division, as you might imagine, in the Southeastern Conference at the time. I am pregnant, pretty pregnant with a little girl. So I walk in the room and I look around, and there are no women. So every athletics director, every deputy athletics director at that time, which was pretty common, because this was, we're going back to like 2011, because I'm now, the baby that I was pregnant with is now 12. But we go around and do introductions, and then they come to me, and I introduce myself, and I say, I see I'm a little outnumbered here from a female standpoint, but I brought one with me. And like, some people laughed, most people didn't, so I thought maybe they're not ready for my gender call out. But I also learned you got to bring a little sense of humor sometimes to situations, as you are also making your statement. And I will say today, as you've seen in a lot of ADs, like, there are women leading in really significant roles in college sports, including in the SEC. They have some female ADs, which is great. But that was a moment. And I think, still in some of our coaches' rooms, our male sports, you go in the room, I'm a female commissioner, but it's like you were talking about building relationships with your teammates. You just got to build that rapport, understand what their issues and priorities are, and then work with them and bring them into what's the vision here for this coaches group, for our league, and how can we do this together.
So you touched on this a little bit about there now being 1/3 of commissioners in that room, but how have you seen opportunities for women in sports in leadership evolve during your career?
For me, I think it's been very good news. In terms of, there's internships, I think mentoring is really becoming a more active role. In fact, women leaders in sports, they're this organization that when you graduate, we need to get you plugged in, because they have a young administrator group going. But they used to be a few hundred members. Now I believe they're close to 2,000. And these are women working in sports, not just college, but pro. In Indianapolis, we've formed this WISE chapter, which is Women in Sports and Entertainment, and there's chapters all across the country. I went to an event last year, and there were over 300 women there. Like I met 2 women working for the Pacers in sports analytics, and they were excited to be part of this larger ecosystem, which was really cool. I say all that, and then I'll note, I think in college sports in particular, we're seeing a bit of a shift because people aren't coming up the traditional track to make it to the AD seat. They're coming more from entertainment or from the business sector. So we're going to have to be really intentional about ensuring we're inclusive in that process for women, minorities, and all that we continue to, frankly, sustain this progress that we've made.
Hearing that is really inspiring for me, being someone that wants to be in a career in sports, and
Good.
hearing that how much progress is being made and that there is space for me to have a future.
Oh yeah, not only is there space, you're going to make space, and there are plenty of us who are already there. I mean, your experience in securing this sponsorship is more than a lot of people can claim before they graduate. I mean, and being a Division I student athlete, like that alone impresses people, and that's going to help you so far down. I mean, it's going to really help you move down the path. It's awesome.
Thank you. How do you balance the business side of running a conference with the student athlete experience?
You know, I appreciate that because we talk about this, and we just rolled out our new Horizon League brand, which, by the way, you didn't comment on my shirt. Okay, all right.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it has the H icon on the shoulder when we went through this big brand recharge. And we talked about these 4 pillars of the league, like what makes us special. And one of them is major experiences. And we say, okay, what does that mean for our student athletes? And it means from the time your bus rolls up on one of our campuses for a volleyball match, there should be certain pieces that you experience. Hospitality, the locker room setup, strong officiating, very clear rules in terms of how the game's going to play. And then we build towards the championship experience. I know you all were in the championship match last year. Yeah, it wasn't on your campus, but we wanted that to be a strong championship environment. We broadcast it on ESPN+. So it's what are all the elements that we can bring for your student athlete experience? And we are a nonprofit, so it's not like we're revenue generating, but yes, of course, we are trying to generate some money to fund all these experiences. And I was just talking we're in the midst of our ESPN negotiation right now, on a call with them last week on probably our 5th conversation as this negotiation unfolds. And I literally was talking about how this partnership is important for our student athletes' exposure. Because we have, over 50 million minutes of Horizon League competition watched on the ESPN platforms. So what are we doing to use that so that we can tell good stories about student athletes like you and so many others, or our presidents or our coaches? So I think even just reminding our partners, like this isn't just about a rights fee. This is about how do we use this partnership and platform to then lift up the awesome things our student athletes are doing.
That is really great to hear, just all the intentionality behind that and what goes into everything. I'm sure that might go unnoticed to some student athletes, like they show up at their conference tournament and they're in the headspace to play, but being grateful for all the opportunities that we have in this league and everything that you have advocated for us.
I appreciate you saying that. I'll tell you, when I was a student athlete, I'm not even sure if I knew there was a conference office or that I knew what they did. So I know when our SAC comes to meetings, they see it more, and they get to know our staff more, and Maddie and Jessica and Bridget that work with them, they really get to see them doing their thing, so to speak. But we don't do it for the recognition. We do it because we believe in what you guys are doing. Guys and gals, I still say guys because I'm Midwestern, but what you all are doing to, frankly, take advantage of this opportunity, and it matters.
What achievement in your career are you most proud of?
Well, that's a hard one. Okay, I don't know if this is what I'm most proud of, but I'm gonna answer with what I had the most fun at recently. That wasn't really, it's not Horizon League related. It was because our office is headquartered in Indy. we get to be involved in some pretty mega sporting events. So Bridget from our staff and I got to be involved in a leadership way with WNBA All-Star Game. And it was a total takeover of our city over the 3 days, but leading up to that, and the experience from the planning and working with all these other great city and community leaders to then literally being there for all of the events as they unfolded and seeing the fun the fans had and the love of the game and the love of women athletes and appreciation for just how awesome they are it was really, really rewarding and a little tiring. I felt like I had been involved in a Horizon League championship because those events, it's such a high and an adrenaline to be there during those pinnacle moments, and then you go home the next day and you're like, it's over. Like, now what? I think though, so that was like the most recent fun. The most rewarding has been being able to bring our league together, and frankly, like the last 5 years since COVID, and it really started with COVID. We've had challenge after challenge that our presidents and chancellors, our athletics directors and coaches have had to navigate. COVID was probably the hardest, like the day of, we're gonna cancel all the spring competition and championships, and now we don't know if we're gonna be able to play in the fall. And coming together as a staff and then as a league to say, okay, what's our safety protocols? And can we all agree, safety first, competition distant fourth, because we got to be able to play these games safely and we got to be able to afford it. And then we literally wrote the protocols for that, and I think we ended up completing our competition at like an 85% rate, and the national average was 74. And it was because it was a total collective effort. Even our presidents and chancellors were like, well, on page 23 it says this. Like, they cared about the safety protocols because it mattered. That was probably at the end of the day, once we all got through that, it was like, okay, that was worth it.
That's awesome to hear that, with how you navigated that with safety first, really putting the student above athlete.
100%. Yeah, person above student and athlete, right?
Yes, correct. If you could be remembered for one impact that you made in college athletics, what would that be?
Whoa. These are kind of hard hitting. I might need more coffee to answer that one. I would hope that, I read this book called The Generosity Factor like 20 years ago, and it talks about living a life of significance instead of a life of success. And significance is defined as generosity, relationships, and impact. Like, I would like to think that I'm remembered as really having a significant impact. And like, it sounds cliche, but literally leaving our league collectively better than when I joined 10 years ago. And it would be because of the teamwork and effort that's gone into it.
Thank you for sharing that. And then my final question here is, what are you currently working on, and what vision do you have for the Horizon League in the next 5 years?
That's actually what we're working on, is our 2030 vision. Because I think we've got to, for a while we were hesitant to undertake this strategic vision, or I think we're calling it a strategic positioning statement, because there's so much happening outside of the Horizon League and this landscape of college sports. And then when we went through that brand recharge and we're like, hey, our 4 key pillars are major cities, which, by the way, we're in Green Bay, love being in this great city, major experiences for our student athletes, having major impact, and then making major moves, being innovative. And I think those really are not just our brand, like that's who we are, that's why it resonates, because it's authentic. So now it's, how do we take those 4 pillars and really think about, by 2030, what are the tangible outcomes we want to see really pulling through in those areas. So that's what we're working on.
Awesome. And that's something that I'll be graduating, so I won't get to have that athletic experience, but something I'm excited about for our future recruits, that they'll get to experience that as well.
Well, and we have something called Beyond the Horizon, where we profile our fantastic alums, which you will be someday. So whenever you're out leading a sports marketing division with some team, then you'll be profiling our Beyond the Horizon.
Awesome.
Look forward to that. Awesome. Well, thank you. This has been really fun. I appreciate your preparation, but more importantly, your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, so before we close up, we just want to thank the owner here at Bixby, Tara Nyson. who's a supporter of Green Bay Athletics. We appreciate you so much, and thank you for letting us take over your lobby here for just a moment, but just an awesome story of entrepreneurship and resilience, and we just love being in your space. Thank you.
You're welcome.